Starting off with the FIA swearing ban. As of the 2025 F1 season, the FIA is imposing a rule that essentially punishes any F1 driver who dares to swear or badmouth them. And let's just say these punishments are, well, a little harsh. For the first offense, the driver would be fined £34,000. Holy shit. Oh, my bad. That's enough to buy 8 of this giant bear statue and still have enough left over to buy this goofy Christmas present. The second offense bestows upon the unlucky driver a £68,000 fine and a 1-month suspension. Bro, what if the driver accidentally quick fired a couple swear words? Is it stackable? And do they instantly just get a 1-month vacation? Because last time I checked, a month is 3 days. Imagine your favorite driver, Max, Yuki, Hajar, got suspended for a month before a triple header. Mad. For the third offense, the driver would have to pay the FIA £102,000, get a month's vacation, and have championship points deducted. These fines are crazy to me. But looking at the driver's salary this year, yeah, I think most of them will be fine. Most. I swear it would be the most awkward situation if we had a title fight this year and it was decided by a heated exchange over the radio where one driver accidentally used the F word one too many times. Yeah, so obviously the fans hate this rule, but you know for sure it's bad when even Gordon Ramsay gets on mic to tell the FIA it's wrong. And this is all because of one person, this guy. And he's kinda in hot water right now. I wonder why, but he did say he's interested in bringing back the V10s with sustainable fuel, and if he does do that, I think I'll just forget about the whole swearing ban. Next, we have paid drivers. Sir Lancelot Stroll, a jack of many trades. I gotta give this man some respect. He is the most consistent driver on the grid. Unfortunately, his consistency is being at the back of the grid. For all of you at the back, a paid driver is, well, it's basically in the name. It's a driver who paid their way into a Formula 1 seat. Now, to be fair, it's not just money that got them there entirely. They still had to have gotten enough points to get an F1 Super license in order to get a seat. It's just that they get a pretty sizable advantage in getting that seat, and you can bet they have a very rich parental figure that makes their dream come true. Now, Lance Stroll isn't the only paid driver we've had. No. Paid drivers have blessed us with the likes of Nikita Mazepin and the GOAT himself, Nicholas Latifi. Although apparently Mazepin is a boxer now, I can only hope for his fans that he doesn't spin out of the ring. The issue with paid drivers is that since they've paid their way into the seat, they tend not to be, well, that good. This makes for some pretty unfortunate scenes if one just so happens to be stationed at your favorite team, and at times they can be a hazard to other drivers on track or to themselves. At the end of the day, I think paid drivers can be good sometimes because they bring us what we all love most: entertainment. Quick intermission. In my very first video, I asked you guys to help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers before the start of the 2025 F1 season. And I don't know what you guys are on, but at the time of recording this video, we are at 685 subscribers from just one fucking video. If you're liking my yapping so far, subscribe right now, and you know what? Get your ass to the comment section and tell me what you'd say to the FIA right now if they just handed you a mic on stage. Like the video too while you're at it, and let's get back to the next issue, which is ticket prices. Now hear me out. There are some Grand Prix that don't require you to sell both of your kidneys in order to attend it. The cheapest of which being the Chinese Grand Prix with an average ticket price of $199. I mean, I can't exactly say $199 is cheap, but considering the setup cost for a GP weekend, I think that price is reasonable enough. And that's about as reasonable as we get, because on the other end of the spectrum, we have, you guessed it, the Las Vegas Grand Prix with an average ticket price of $1,617. For comparison, the Grand Prix with the second highest ticket price is Miami, and even then, the average ticket price is $878. Now, I did some research and I found that back in 1993, the average ticket price for a 3-day general admission ticket to the British Grand Prix was only £52. And if that cost had risen with the rate of inflation up to 2014, the tickets back then would have only cost about £90. Instead, they actually cost a whopping £170 and are now obviously way more fucking expensive. So are we getting scammed? I mean, kinda. F1 got so popular after Drive to Survive that the tracks gained the opportunity to raise prices as well. Supply and demand. And until that demand dies, which I don't think will be anytime soon if the 2025 season lives up to the hype, these ticket prices are only going to get worse and worse, man. Next, we have street tracks. Now, just because a track is a street track doesn't mean it's going to be bad necessarily. Without them, we wouldn't have Albert Park in Australia, the Baku City Circuit in Azerbaijan, or even the Miami Grand Prix. The main issue that comes with street tracks is that since we're racing F1 cars, which are track cars, not road cars, although I think I've seen a couple on the road, they tend not to be best suited for street track, at least when compared to purpose-built circuits. One reason being, currently they're about as wide as an oil tanker, and street tracks tend to be, well, kinda narrow. I'm looking at you, Monaco. This makes it pretty hard to overtake on some of these tracks, which can lead to Saturday being really entertaining, just for Sunday to be one large DRS train for the entire race. For the most part, there's not really much F1 can do about this, since I don't think cities plan on building wider roads just for an F1 race that happens once a year. Although they are looking to add an extra mandatory pit stop to Monaco after after last year's Sleep Fest. Man, Leclerc's win was really the only good thing to come out of that race. Currently, it looks like F1 really likes street tracks since they're trying to add even more to the calendar. In 2026, the Spanish GP is leaving the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, a permanent racetrack, and moving to a new street circuit. I mean, personally, I've got no clue whether this is going to be an upgrade or a downgrade, but we can only hope that the circuit will give us some good racing. The next problem is penalty system inconsistencies. The issue is that penalties that are currently getting dished out by the stewards seem to be based a little bit too much on emotion and outcome rather than the alleged crime being committed. And this is leading to many inconsistencies in the way they're given out. An example would be the incident between Alonso and Russell in Australia last year, where Alonso received a 20-second penalty for braking early into a corner to get a better exit, which led to Russell getting some dirty air and his car doing a side clank. If we look back to the season before that though, in Abu Dhabi, Alonso literally did the exact same thing to Lewis Hamilton, and the FIA couldn't give less of a shit. My guess is the main reason he didn't get a penalty the first time around is because in Abu Dhabi, Hamilton didn't fly into the barriers, making it a victimless crime. Whereas for George, the same could not be said. This makes the case for the FIA penalizing the drivers based on outcome open and shut, and makes the FIA's claims that they don't penalize based on outcome bullshit. And finally, we have the F1 greenwashing. For those of you who don't know what greenwashing is, allow me to explain. Greenwashing is a form of advertising or marketing spin that deceptively uses green PR and green marketing to persuade the public that an organization's products, goals, or policies are environmentally friendly. Basically, in monkey terms, F1 say pollution bad because environment go boom, sponsors go ah, and then more money. F1 wanted everyone to think that the 20 F1 cars on the grid are responsible for most of the sport's pollution. Therefore, they were able to take away our screaming V8s and V10s and replace them with the vacuum cleaner of the V6. Some of them do sound good, I can't lie. And while the fans hated it, the sponsors and engine manufacturers cheered. It's pretty much a well-known fact at this point that the majority of F1's carbon footprint comes from flying their employees around each season more than Taylor Swift does in a decade. On average, an F1 team member who goes to each race would travel about 170,000 kilometers over the course of a season, which is equivalent to taking the longest commercial flight in the world 11 fucking times. This means that each team member that travels to every race in a season produces about 28.99 tons of CO2 per year just from traveling, versus 8.34 tons for the average UK resident. Except that 8.34 accounts for everything including food, driving, tech, and clothes. Therefore, all 10 teams produce 28,990 tons. Yes, tons of carbon dioxide emissions. Doesn't seem very green to me, man. And that concludes my yapping session about everything wrong with Formula 1. At the end of the day, I love this sport, and I'd hate to see it go to shit because of any one of these reasons. And subscribe right now so I can hit 1,000 subscribers before the beginning of the 2025 F1 season. Bye.